Tonight's game is being brought to you in stunning high-definition television here on ESPN. Special night broadcast of the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks right now down by 5. Kobe Bryant was suspended earlier in the season when he went up for a jump shot against Manu Ginobili, and Ginobili blocked the shot. The arm comes out. They call that a suspension. Then against the Timberwolves, Yarrick goes up to block the shot, also takes him in the arm. Now, Greg, I know that you talked to Kobe before the game, and he said that if that rule was in effect when you were playing, your whole team would have been suspended.
He's talking about my whole
I can attest to that.
It is a different game. And nice play there by Greg Buckner out of the timeout. And remember what Phil Jackson said before the game. He said, heck, when I was playing, Bob McAdoo, who would shoot a similar way, hit me, knocked my tooth out, and they called a foul on my face. And the basket went in. So he said the game is just different now. They've been consistent in how they've made that call. Kobe's got to make the adjustment.
Well, you know, the first one, I defended Kobe Bryant because I thought it was a flagrant foul. At worst, it should not have been a suspension in my mind. But the second one is really indefensible because now the precedent's been set. You know what action the league's going to take, and you have to make the adjustment, as Greg alluded to. And I'm sure Kobe Bryant's going to be much more concerned about that as we head down the stretch.
That's the second foul on Smush Parker, so he'll go to the bench. Shamond Williams, a veteran who's been around the league, will come in.
And also Kwame Brown checking into the game to give them a little bit more impact on the interior. Didn't get a lot out of Andrew Bynum early on.
Nowitzki swings it. Out from the outside, no good. Rebounded by Cook.
And that time defensively, it was interesting. Kobe Bryant really wasn't even guarding Greg Buckner. He was playing the center of the lane and really shadowing Dirk Nowitzki to whatever side of the floor he went to, almost playing a one-man zone in the middle of the lane.
Technical on the bench of the Lakers. And I don't think it was Phil Jackson.
I think that was
a call on Smush.
Smush does not look very happy on the bench right now. I thought initially it was a complaint being lodged because of the shot on Kobe and the thought that he was fouled, but obviously that had something to do with something that happened earlier in the game. You can see here, Kobe's thinking there's going to be some contact on the shot, not called by the official.
I want to watch just the same, though, to see how many times the arm actually does go out after a jump shot. Buckner from the baseline. Dampier thought he had it. He'll stay with Dallas.
And that right there was indicative, that last play, of where Dallas has really had a huge advantage. And talking with Phil Jackson before, they just kill the Lakers on the offensive glass. They're so relentless at rebounding the basketball. One of the reasons why they're right now the best team in all of the NBA.
33 offensive rebounds against them in the last 2 games. And I mean, that's just a killer. When you play great defense initially and you force a team as good as Dallas is offensively into a bad shot or a miss, you've got to collect the rebound to be able to start your transition game.
Nowitzki with the last bucket. Well, they outscore teams by 8 points a game. Well, we get a foul. Buckner was called for the foul. And he gave a little whoop.
He got a little push off, but again, he's going down on that block, looking to post. And Kwame Brown actually with a nice post-to-post pass entry to Kobe Bryant, who had the position. And Devin George,
it's a nice welcome home.
Beloved here.
I'm telling you what.
And they can boo Ben Wallace in Detroit.
I thought it was kind of mixed.
George hit some big shots for this team in championship years.
He's got 3 rings.
He's going to get booed coming here.
He's on the enemy now.
He's got 3 rings coming in with Kobe. Evans launches with 1 on the shot clock. And George comes up with the rebound.
It's actually a great addition for Dallas in the offseason. A guy that can guard multiple positions. Like I said, he makes big threes, and he's a team guy. Great character, great locker room guy. So Dallas really added to their depth, which was already great last season.
Nowitzki working on Cook, draws a double team. Shot clock is at 4. George is going to have to let it fly. He does. And air ball this time.
And that's one of the few possessions right there where you see Dallas totally frustrated offensively, not able to get the type of look they wanted. I think Dirk probably gave it up a little too soon out of that double team. Spacing very poor on the weak side.
Dallas shoots it at 47% on the season, but right now they're shooting it at 36%. we're just midway through the first quarter. Bryant and George. Bryant shoots over. George no good. Cook had the rebound and then loses the handle.
It's funny, in talking with Kobe a little bit before the game, one of the other issues that their team is having, and people don't realize how difficult it is to learn that triangle offense. When you have all these injuries, you're now asking a lot of guys who aren't comfortable playing in that offense or to have to play it in positions with which they're not familiar. And that's totally disruptive from a chemistry standpoint. One of the reasons, again, why they struggle.
George thinks about the three in for a closer look and foul. Also on the floor now is Jerry Stackhouse, and he's a big reason for the success of this team. I mean, this is a guy who was an all-star player in the league, who was taken to the six-man role and has become a leader as well on the team.
I think he understood that that's where his career was really going to take him at this stage. He was a guy that was a leading scorer in the league when he was in Detroit, 28 a game. Comes here now, has really accepted this role because, bottom line, the guy wants to win, and he understands he can come in and be the primary option offensively a lot of times off the bench for 20, 25 minutes a night. It's a great role for him.
Kobe Bryant, free throw line, knocks it down.
I haven't seen him this aggressive this early really all season. He's definitely coming out trying to set the tone, and one of the reasons why the Lakers off to an early two-point lead.
Because we're here. Pushing the back.
He's got a different look in his eye right now. There's no question about it. Every time he gets his hands on the basketball, he's trying to attack somebody.
And you know what? He's always had great success against the Dallas Mavericks. I think he's also a little upset because his university didn't get into the tournament this year.
Either did mine. I'm not salty.
Well, he didn't go to college.
That's true.
So he can pick any of the field of 65 and be happy. Nowitzki. Oh, a nice pass down to Stackhouse, but he doesn't finish. Parker back into the game with those two fouls. Kwame Brown can't get anybody in the air, but uses the glass, gets knocked to the ground and scores.
And that's the thing about Kwame Brown. He really teases you, Timmy, with his overall physical ability. I mean, the instinct's not quite where you want them, and it's hard to develop them when you've had the kind of injuries he's had this season, but made great growth last season that's been stunted somewhat thus far because of the injuries.
Well, in terms of a physical specimen, you want to draw up what you want in a starting center in his league. It'd be tough to top a guy like Kwame Brown with his size and strength. He just has had a problem with a couple things. I think his instincts for the game have not been great. He's had injury problems, obviously, and his consistency really hasn't been there. But lately, he has outplayed Andrew Bynum. And I think down the stretch, Kwame Brown's going to be critical for this team.
I think Jim Gray, that the Lakers definitely feel Kwame has to play well for them to go far in the playoffs.
Well, that's exactly right, and they're depending on him. Now he has to show that he's dependable, and he missed the memo. I think he was the only guy who didn't get the memo across the country. And we went on daylight savings time because Kwame was supposed to start tonight, but he came very late to practice today. We asked Phil Jackson about it. He said he would have started, but he didn't get the memo about daylight savings time, and he also said it was his birthday, his 25th birthday last night. He said that was a bad combination, those two things. So the combination resulted that he missed the first 4 minutes of the game. But, John, you're exactly right. They're going to need him. He had been very productive before he'd gotten injured and was going on a great path. Now they need him to come back and do even more than he had done.
Well, into the penalty as Brown goes to the line.
And remember last year, this is where he was so effective. He had great presence on the interior against Phoenix in particular in that first round series. And it's one of the reasons why you can see the Lakers able to control tempo. I think Avery was talking about it before the game, Coach Avery Johnson, how they're starting to play a little too slow, the Dallas Mavericks. And that really allows other teams to compete with them. You'd like to see the tempo speed up a little bit.
Stackhouse off the mark. Kwame Brown with the rebound.
And, you know, it's not a knock on Andrew Bynum because the kid's 19 years old, and Phil Jackson has made a great point before the game. He was supposed to be in the D-League at the start of the season to get some reps. He's going to play over 2,000 minutes for the Lakers as a starting center at 19 years old, but he's hit the wall. He is struggling lately, and his last game against Philly actually had more fouls and turnovers than points and rebounds. And I'm not a mathematician, but I know that's a bad night.
That's not real positive. Not good for the fantasy league stats.
Hey, he's going to find out when he gets older. You hit the wall a lot more at 51 than 19.